recognition.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk titled ANS 02-02.
The clerk shall designate the amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 6359, offered by Ms. Miller of Illinois, identifier ANS_02.
Without objection, the amendment shall be considered original text for purposes of further amendment. The amendment in the nature of a substitute has already been distributed. I now recognize Ms. Miller for 5 minutes to explain the amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment in the nature of a substitute makes one small technical change to the bill, but I'd like to speak on the bill's overall importance. Nearly 1 in 5 undergraduate students are raising children while enrolled in post-secondary education. Of these student parents, 74% are mothers. Yet these students should never be dissuaded from continuing their education. This is why I am supporting the Pregnant Students' Rights Act. Under this bill, colleges and universities must inform pregnant students of their rights, accommodations, and resources which are available to them. The bill also requires schools to remind these students how to file a complaint with the college or university if they are discriminated against for their decision to carry the baby to term. I am proud to support this bill, which empowers future parents who make the brave decision to embrace motherhood while continuing their education. Mr. Chairman, I ask that a letter of support from Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, dated January 7th, 2026, and a letter of support from Students for Life Action, dated January 8th, 2026, be entered into the record. I urge my colleagues to support H.R. 6359, the Pregnant Students' Rights Act, and I yield back.
Without objection, the letters will be submitted. Hearing none. Are there any members who wish to be recognized for further discussion on the amendment in the nature of a substitute? Representative Scott, do you wish to be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This committee is tasked with some of the most important legislative work in Congress, especially when it comes to meeting the needs of our young people as they transition into adulthood. On its face, this bill may appear to ensure that students are informed of available resources and ways that students can continue to access their education while pregnant, but in fact, only outlines information on student rights and local resources to carry a pregnancy to term and not protect them if they have a medical complication that where an abortion may be indicated. In this end, the bill falls short and makes it more difficult for students to receive full and accurate information on their rights, including rights that are already protected under Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. That's why 48 organizations, such as the National Women's Law Center and the National Partnership for Women and Families, have raised serious concerns about the legislation, noting that the bill does not contain any meaningful supports that would actually help pregnant and parenting students be able to remain enrolled and meet their educational goals. Now, we're considering this bill against the backdrop of the largest cuts in federal safety net programs in history in our country, with millions slated to lose access to health care and food assistance. We also know that we're in the midst of an affordability crisis, as individuals and families increasingly find it harder to pay for food, utilities, health care, and the roof over their heads, yet this bill does nothing to change that situation. Committee Democrats remain committed to ensure that all students, including those who choose to become parents, are set up for educational success, and much more needs to be done to support our nation's students, but this legislation doesn't do that. For these reasons, I oppose the amendment as well as the underlying bill and yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. Thank you. Representative Harris, do you wish to be recognized?
Yes, to speak in favor of the bill.
You're recognized.
Too many young women on college campuses are led to believe that pregnancy means the end of their education, their dreams, or their future. And this is simply not true. This bill says that if a college receives federal education funding, it must be upfront with students about the rights, protections, and accommodations already available to pregnant students. We must give voice to the numerous resources that exist to help a woman carry her child to term and thrive in the following days. This can save lives and save a mom from heartbreak or trauma. We should be a nation that tells mothers, you are not alone. You are valued, and you do not have to choose between your child and your education. I hope my colleagues can support simply distributing information to women so they can make an informed decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Are there any other members who wish to speak? Representative McBath, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. And thank you, Ranking Member Scott. I am hopeful that Congress can come together to find a bipartisan path to supporting all pregnant and parenting students without prioritizing certain students and types of care over others. But the Pregnant Students' Rights Act is unfortunately not this kind of legislation. I believe the bill we are considering is more about pressuring female students into making serious, deeply personal health decisions than it is about connecting pregnant and parenting students with resources that will help mothers safely carry and deliver a child, or parenting students raise a child after they are born, all while they continue to take classes. We should be using this time to mark up legislation that will actually support pregnant and parenting students, like the Understanding Student-Parent Outcomes Act introduced by me and my colleagues, Representatives Deborah Ross and Don Bacon, as well as the Helping Student Parents Succeed Act that I lead with an evenly divided bipartisan group of 10 members of the House. Instead of leveraging the very real needs of students and their families against the highly polarizing and personal topics of reproductive rights and abortion, we could be establishing best practices to improve graduation rates and help pregnant and parenting Americans stay in school and avoid dropping out with large amounts of debt and no degree to show for it. Practices like ensuring access to quality on-campus childcare, clarifying make-up work policies, and providing appropriate accommodations for breastfeeding. The Helping Student Parents Succeed Act would accomplish exactly what the Pregnant Students' Rights Act aims to do without prioritizing any type of accommodation or service. My bill is specifically written in such a way to not prioritize certain resources over others and would connect pregnant and parenting students to programs that are already being offered at their school. It would not require schools to make any specific changes, just have them notify students of their school statement of policy and what resources that they can take advantage of to help them juggle school alongside a pregnancy, the loss of pregnancy, or parenting a child. Supporting pregnant and parenting students is a bipartisan effort, but the bill our colleagues have brought forth today does not seek to find common sense or consensus solutions. I don't believe the Pregnant Students' Rights Act has the bipartisan support necessary to cross the 60-vote threshold in the Senate, and without putting something together that can pass, we risk not helping anyone at all. We have an opportunity to pass something that will do all of the things that my Republican colleagues want to accomplish here today to help pregnant and parenting students without specifically trying to favor one side of one of the most sensitive issues in our society. I look forward to working with my colleagues across the aisle, as I always have, at the appropriate time to ensure that every pregnant student and every parent in school is given the support that they need to finish their degree, improve their career, and finally move into a higher income bracket that they have been dreaming of and working so hard towards. I will not be supporting this bill in its current form, but I do look forward to working with the chair and my Republican colleagues on finding a path to supporting pregnant and parenting students that most, if not all, members should be able to support. And I yield the balance of my time.
I thank the gentlelady. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for discussion? Representative Casar. Representative Onder, do you wish to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes.
You're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I am so disappointed that my Democrat colleagues want to make this common sense bill all about abortion. With all due respect, one of my colleagues stated that this bill fails to give information about, quote, medical reasons abortions may be medically indicated or the complex medical needs of pregnant women. This is not something Title IX offices or even student health centers can do. Complex medical reasons that abortion may be indicated would be the realm of a high-risk obstetrical specialist. As Representative Miller stated, 1 in 5 students in higher education are either parents or are pregnant. This bill very simply requires colleges and universities to provide a list of resources, both on campus and community. It ensures colleges and universities provide information on students' rights under Title IX. This should be a non-controversial bill to help women further their education despite pregnancy and to face the challenges that might come along with pregnancy or motherhood or fatherhood. So I strongly support this bill. I would be very disappointed if this bill didn't pass out of this committee unanimously. But I appreciate the work of Representative Miller on this bill, as well as the bill sponsor, and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Representative Casar, do you wish to be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I want to respond to the gentleman from the Republican majority that just spoke, asking about why this bill wouldn't pass unanimously. While there are accusations that the Democratic side is making this bill about abortion rights, nothing is further from the truth. As the Republican sponsor of the bill just laid out, the primary groups pushing this bill forward are anti-abortion organizations. This bill isn't being pushed forward by organizations or academic institutions that want to support pregnant students or mothers and fathers in higher education. Those organizations and those folks that advocate for people that are trying to both raise children or have a child and stay in school know that what students need is paid leave from work, because so often these students are pulling a job and attending higher education. So what I am disappointed about is not being able to get support for paid leave from the Republican side of the aisle, or what these students ask for and need is childcare for their child while they also juggle their job and go to college. But we can't get support from the Republican side of the aisle for childcare for so many of these parents and students. What so many of these families bring up they need is to be able to have health care coverage for when it is that they have their child, both for childbirth and then taking care of that kid. But what we're facing from the Republican majority right now are the biggest cuts to health care in American history. And so we could have a unanimous bill if what we were coming here to do was to actually try to take care of moms and dads who are getting through higher education. But instead, what we have is an anti-abortion activist bill. And that's why you're going to get no's from the Democratic side, is because we want to support parents and parents-to-be in higher education. And what we're not trying to do is cloak our intentions with a bill that is trying to, for some anti-abortion advocates, going and trying to pressure oftentimes moms that already have kids in school about their choices. And so I look forward to voting for a bill that is not about pressuring people into not having abortions, pressuring people into having abortions. I want a bill where we're talking about taking care of students and taking care of parents and parents-to-be. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Thank you. I now recognize Representative Bonamici. Do you wish to? I have an amendment. That will come, yeah. Any others wish to be recognized? I was going to make some comment about the freshest face on the committee. welcome back in the new year. Representative Grijalva, do you wish to speak on this?
Thank you, Chair. I do. I appreciate the time. When you look at some of the titles, Pregnant Students' Rights Act sounds like something that we should all support. As a mom of 3 kids, I think it's so critically important for us to provide these services. Unfortunately, this bill doesn't fix any of the problems that pregnant students and new parents are asking for. They're asking for help with childcare, healthcare, leave. What this does, and the mom, Nora, who came to our office, who's a student at Pima Community College, who came to advocate for the Department of Education's fully funding the C Campus grant, because that was the only reason that she was able to finish school. It's the only reason why her and her then 2-month-old child were able to advance their lives and give her an opportunity for a quality of life that she wouldn't be able to have without higher education. They came to our office asking for full funding because that program that helped her so much abruptly ended on 9/30/25 and has no indication of any future funding. So when we're talking about wanting to have bipartisan support for these kind of initiatives, I think it's important for us to really ask parents-to-be and new parents, what is it that they need? And what they need is childcare, healthcare, and leave. That's the kind of support they need, and I hope that our committee will start to work towards true solutions to help our communities. And I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. Does the gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Wilson, wish to be recognized?
Mr. Chair, I move to strike the last word.
Representative Wilson, you're recognized.
As a woman who suffered a stillborn pregnancy and almost died before Roe v. Wade, and a former principal, school district administrator, and a school board member, supporting pregnant and parenting students is deeply important to me. But H.R. 6359 does not do what its title promises. Almost 4 years ago, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, Republicans continue their relentless campaign to restrict women's reproductive freedom, and this bill is the latest front in that effort. It narrowly steers students towards carrying a pregnancy to term while denying them full information about contraception, sexual and reproductive health, and on and off-campus resources for students who carry or terminate a pregnancy, even though Title IX protects all of them. H.R. 6359 cherry picks. They cherry pick which pregnant students count, requires institutions to promote only one outcome, and then explicitly blocks the Secretary of Education from ever requiring institutions to provide more comprehensive information for students. At the same time, Republicans are assigning new duties to the Secretary of Education while dismantling the Department of Education. What Secretary of Education? Where is this Secretary of Education going to be if we don't have a Department of Education? Is there going to be a Secretary of Education to comply with this bill if it becomes law? There's certainly not going to be an office for the civil rights, making it almost impossible for pregnant and parenting students to vindicate their rights under this bill or existing law. And while they claim to care about pregnant students, their so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act guts the very programs student parents rely on. on-campus childcare, and critical nutrition programs that help students and their children stay fed, not hungry, and helps them stay in school. That is not support, that is hypocrisy. For these reasons, I oppose this bill and urge my colleagues to reject this messaging bill and instead advance real solutions that respect students' bodily autonomy and provide genuine, comprehensive support for all pregnant and parenting students. And I yield back, Mr. Chair.
I thank the gentlelady.